Okay, so you always look carefully what you are being given. In this case, you are always given either one unknown. Sometimes they can give the students up to 4 different unknowns. So in this case, you are given 2 unknowns, R and Q. So whenever you are given an unknown sample, you must ask yourself what is the physical state and what is the color. So these are the 2 things you need to take note. Okay, so first 2 things you need to take note: color, then physical state. Okay, so physical state very easy. I'm just referring to either is it a solid, is it powder, or is it solution. Okay, then color I can further split into 2 parts. So I can look at something that is colorless. I can end up with a colorless solution, or I can also end up with a white solid. Then the other possible scenario is a colored solution or a colored solid, as long as it is not white. So I can have green, blue, orange, yellow, orange, brown. Yeah, that's about it, the more common one. Okay, so these are things you need to take note. Okay, so all this color, right, tells you certain things that you need to take note of. If you have a colorless or white solid, possibility of your cation that is present, you either have this, or this. Anyway, okay, lead 2+, not tested in practical. I repeat myself, you will never end up with a lead 2+ compound in the lab. It's not tested. Okay, so these are the only 3 possible ions if you are given a mixture, if you are given a white solid or a colorless solution. Okay, then if it's a colored substances, right, or a solution, then chances is that you can be looking at your copper 2+. Okay, you can be looking at copper 2+. What's the possible color for copper 2+? What's the most common color for copper 2+ solution? Blue. Yeah, it's likely to be blue. If not, it can be green. Yeah, copper 2+ solution can be green. Okay, so how do you know whether is it copper 2+ or iron, right? Because iron 2+ also green. It's when you add your sodium hydroxide. Okay, so the test for sodium hydroxide will always give you a positive test to tell you is it copper 2+ or iron 2+. So this is the 2 possible color for copper, even though this is the more common one. Okay, then other color solution you can recall is actually your iron 2+. So iron 2+ is usually pale green or light green. What's the last one that is colored? Fe3+. Okay, dirty green is only used to describe the precipitate. The solution itself, you can't see the dirty green. Okay, so dirty green is only used to describe the precipitate, not for solution. Okay, if it's iron 3+ solution, right, it can be orange brown. Reddish brown, not so common. If not, I can put down red brown, red brown or orange brown. Alternatively, it can be yellowish brown. Okay, so slightly darker shade. So actually quite easy for you to differentiate between your Fe2+ and Fe3+. In any case, if you want to confirm the presence of any or all of this ion, always use sodium hydroxide. So in all the tests so far, right, you realize that they will always give you adding your sodium hydroxide. Then that's how you determine based on the color of the precipitate. Okay? Okay. The solution itself doesn't tell you anything about the anion. So anion, you have to look at the instruction. Based on the key reagent you identify, you can actually identify what is the anion you're trying to test for. Okay, so that's something you need to take note. So just a reminder, first thing, check the color of the substance given, then have an idea what you're testing for. Secondly, always read the question. I never say one compound is present in the given unknown. Sometimes they'll say salt R contains 2 cation and 1 anion, or it can be the reverse. So if that's the case, then you know you have to identify 3 different things in the given sample. Okay, so that's the next thing you need to take note of. Huh?
It might not be element.
Okay, if it's element, they'll tell you it's a metal. By the way, what's the color of metal? What's the color for most metal? Silvery gray. Most of the metal by default are gray. So unless you are given a bottle of gray solid, if not, don't even bother about thinking it's metal. Not possible. Can? Okay, now, so if I had to move on now, so second instruction, you always carry out the following test, and before you carry out the test, very importantly, read all the instructions. Don't read one line, do one line, read one line, do one line. By the time you do this right, all your guess tests that you're supposed to carry out all gone already. Then you're going to spend time wasting to repeat the test. So this is something you need to remember. Identify any gas that is evolved. They will never tell you when to test for gas. And this is where you need to be very clear at which juncture do I test for gas. Okay? So if you are testing for gas, right, there's only two possible scenarios. One, when you are hitting a solid strongly. But so far, when I look at the questions that require you to hit a solid sample strongly, they will say test the gas produced using what? Then you just carry out the following gas test. If you are hitting a solid, the possible gases that you can be testing for, right? Carbon dioxide, ammonia gas. I've also seen oxygen gas. So these are the three common gases you test for if you are hitting a solid strongly. Okay, so they can say bubble the gas into lime water, place a damp red litmus paper near the gas, or they can say place a glowing spleen near the gas. Okay, so these are clues to tell you that you're testing for the different gases. Okay, another one is when you are adding an acid. Adding acid. Okay, so when you add acid, right, there's only two possible gases. Hydrogen gas, and that's possible if you react with a metal. So what's the color of metal again? Gray. So if I ask you to add a gray compound inside, then yes, you test for the gas. If not, then the other gas is carbon dioxide. So if you have carbon dioxide gas, it tells you that you have carbonate present in the given unknown. Okay, so before that, how do I know I have a gas produced? What will you see? Bubbles. Then I'm going to ask you, when you hit a solid strongly, can you see bubbles? If you hit a solid, can you see bubbles or not? Cannot. Okay? So you can only write down the observation where you see bubbles if you add a solid or a solution to an acid or the other way around. If you are hitting a solid, there's no way you see bubbles. So another way for you to tell that you need to test for presence of gas is when you see bubbles. Can? Okay, so my advice to you is, if you know that you're adding an acid to an unknown, or adding an unknown to an acid, prepare your lime water test first. So get your test tube with the lime water present. Then after that, you add the compound together. The moment you see bubbles, quickly bubble into the lime water. If not, you realize you have to spend time redoing it again. Okay, then the next thing is, don't be so greedy. Go and pour half a test tube of lime water. The more lime water you have, the more carbon dioxide you need in order to produce the white PPT. So only about 1/5 or 1/4 of the test tube filled with lime water, that's sufficient. Okay, then third, you have boiling tube, you got test tube. Remember that day you used the stopper that's of two different sizes? The delivery tube has two different sizes, right? If you are using a test tube, then you should be using the stopper that is smaller in size. If you are given a boiling tube, then use the delivery tube with the bigger stopper. Yeah, so these are things you need to take note of. Don't go and use a small stopper to stopper your boiling tube. By the time you do that, all your gas escape already. Okay, so that part you will fail. Okay, then there's one more gas to test for. Oxygen gas. How do you know a test for oxygen gas? When you are adding your hydrogen peroxide. Okay, when you are using hydrogen peroxide. Then this one, test for oxygen gas.
So if you are hitting a solid, how do you know about that?
Usually they'll tell you when you hit for the solid, right, what are the things you have to test out with. So hitting solid usually more direct.
If hit solid, then how you test for carbon dioxide?
Same thing, you stopper. Then, yeah, but you have to be very careful lah. Okay, there's one more. You find space to write it in, okay? If you are adding sodium hydroxide, okay, if you are adding sodium hydroxide, then you warm. What are you testing for? Again? Where got NH4? NH4 is a gas, man. Yeah, this one you're testing for ammonia gas. So usually when you add your aqueous sodium hydroxide, you're just testing for the cation. But if they ask you to warm, you're actually testing for ammonia gas. Same thing, if you add aqueous sodium hydroxide, and then you plus your aluminium foil, and then you warm. What are you testing for? Nitrate. So what gas is produced? NO3 minus is a gas, man. NH3. Okay. So you realize that there is two possible reactions that you carry out and both test for presence of ammonia gas. So how do you differentiate what is what? If you're only adding sodium hydroxide and you're warming it, you're only testing for ammonia gas. This tells you the presence of your ammonium ion. This one means your ammonium ion is present. But if you're adding aluminium foil and then you warm it and you get ammonia gas, then you're testing for nitrate ion. So the two tests looks identical. It's just that only with the presence of your aluminium foil and you have the positive test for ammonia gas, then you can conclude it's nitrate ion present. Okay, so there's this type of question. First, they say add sodium hydroxide and warm. They realize that when you test for your gas, there's no change in the litmus paper. So with that, you conclude ammonia gas is not present. Therefore, ammonium ion is not present. But if you repeat the test another round by adding aluminum foil, and now you test for this, which is produced, then your conclusion is that this is your nitrate ion present. Not all the tests will give you a positive result. Some tests is meant to be negative so that you are able to do elimination on your own. Okay? Okay, Okay, then let's move on. So these are the possible areas where your gas are produced. As you start reading through the questions from now onwards, please be very clear whether you need to test for gas or not. Then get the things ready.
So if I add acid, then I place the lighter fluid inside, if no reaction, I can just conclude it's carbon dioxide.
Cannot. Cannot. Because it may not even have a gas.
Or bubble,
But how do you know there may not be other gases? You cannot conclude like that. You know why or not? Because sometimes, right, your PPT form can actually dissolve. So do you catch that part? Yeah, so you must always carry out. Yeah, the observation must convince you so that you can do the conclusion at the back. Yes, there's actually a set of QA notes for this. Tomorrow I print in your paper so that you know which one to refer to. But the thing is you cannot leave the statement from the paper because they'll give you 0. It's stated very clearly in the markers report. It's a reference guide, but it's not for you to use it to answer the question. Okay? Can Okay, so if you run through the different tests again, you realize 1A doesn't tell you anything much. 1B, the one that you need to focus on is actually silver nitrate. What is silver nitrate testing for? Check. What is silver nitrate testing for? Test for chlorine, chloride. If you have a positive test, you should get a white PPT, right? Do you see a white PPT form here? No. So what do you conclude? Is chloride ion present? No. Okay, so this is what I meant by negative test. This particular test result tells you that your chloride ion is not present because you don't see the formation of a white PPT. Can? Okay, so this is what your observation is supposed to do for you. Identify what is present, identify what is not present. Then you can answer the questions that follows later on. Okay, then the next one. You are supposed to be adding your solution Q until you have, slowly with shaking. So realize that when you add your solution R and Q together, right, you see this thing, bubbles. Okay, and you see colorless gas. So going by what I've talked to you about, you know that you're going to test for carbon dioxide gas. Okay? So if you know there's carbon dioxide gas, then you have to tell them that you carry out the test using lime water and what you observe. So for gas test observation, make sure you start with these two words. It's a standard one. You can't change it. Gas produced do what? Okay? So if your white PPT is formed in lime water, the conclusion you draw here is carbon dioxide gas is produced. Okay, if carbon dioxide gas is produced, what is the anion that you can conclude present here? Carbon dioxide gas is produced due to presence of carbonate ion. So this is what you conclude. Okay? Then I got a question. Your carbonate ion is present in P, in Q or R? Q or R? Or both?
Q.
So if you say it's present in Q, right, you go back to your first one. When you added your Q followed by the acid, got bubbles? No. So where is the carbonate present? In Q or in R? In R. So you must be able to be very clear with this as well. Okay, so carbonate ion is present in solution R. Okay? Okay, next